had my first flat in Bath in the 1960s. I was a teacher and I had no money, and I bought a chair from an auction. It was a beautiful chair and I loved it. It was very, very quaint and delightful. It had extremely strange fabric covering it. I took it back into my bed sitting room, and everybody said what a pretty chair it was. So when I went to bed that night, I was very pleased with what I bought at the auction. It didn't cost very much, but it was a very pretty chair. But when I went to sleep that night, I really had the first true nightmare that I'd ever had, because on the chair, facing me, was a shrouded figure with her hands on the arms of the chair, staring at me in my bed. And I was terrified, so terrified I couldn't move for a little while. I hadn't felt like that for a very long time. But then, rationality checks in, and I was so tired, I did go to sleep that night. Unfortunately, it happened again the next night, and the next night. And then, having really not slept for 5 nights, I was beginning to think that something really strange was happening here. But I said, no, this is not rational, this is ridiculous, I'm just tired. So I went to bed that night, still with the chair in my room, but that night I had a waking dream, which meant I thought I'd actually got up out of my bed to confront the creature that was sitting in the chair. And I was so terrified I couldn't even get back into bed. I just leapt to the window. There were long curtains coming from this big Victorian room. I wrapped myself up into the curtains just to keep myself away from this creature in this chair. And then I woke up. I hadn't got out of bed at all. My bed was perfectly still. I hadn't even moved the bedclothes, but I thought, that is it. This chair is going out into the hall. But I still thought it was a very pretty chair, and I was still trying to rationalize the situation. Then my father and mother came to stay with me, and I told them the story, and my father said, no, this is silly, you're just being absolutely ridiculous. I said, I'm not having it in my bedroom again, I am not. It's going to be destroyed. And because my father loves beautiful furniture, he said, oh, well, just let's do something. I said, okay, we'll do something. We won't destroy it. So it was in the hall, and that very day when my mother came into the hall carrying a tray of tea, because she always has tea, she tripped, she fell, she hit her head on the chair. The chair was covered with blood. We had to get the doctor to put stitches in her head and everything, and it was all very, 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 it was very stressful. I said, that's right, the chair is going out. And my father said, now, just a minute. We'll just look at the chair. We'll take all that stuff off it, all that strange fabric that's on the top. We'll just take it off. We'll have a look at the chair. We'll wash it down. We'll get some new fabric. We'll put some new fabric on the chair, and then we'll see. I said, he's not coming back in my room. He said, no, we'll just do it. So he did it, my dear father. So it was in the hall, and he put new fabric on it. It stayed in the hall, no dreams. And I've had it with me for the last 40 years, and nothing else has happened. So it must have been the fabric that was impressing this horrible creature that used to just go like this and stare at me with the most horrible eyes. And that's the story of the witch's chair.
And that's the chair you sat in now, Olive?
Yes.
Can we look at the chair?
Yes, of course. Here's the chair. There it is.
Thank you for the story, Olive.
It's a pleasure.